We are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
President Donald Trump took office vowing to put America first. A day later, millions of people joined women's marches around the U.S. and the globe saying reproductive rights, equal pay, and other women's issues were now under threat. More widespread protests came just days later. After the president signed an executive order banning people from 6 Muslim-majority countries from coming into the U.S. By year-end, restrictions on foreign nationals from 2 more countries were added. The ban faced several legal challenges, even making it to the Supreme Court of the United States. President Trump nominated Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court.
I'll administer justice.
He's the 5th sitting justice appointed by a Republican president. President Trump also followed through on some of his campaign promises, including pulling the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord and officially recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. The announcement sparked violent protests and rebukes from several foreign leaders. The investigation into whether the Trump campaign colluded with Russia during the election hovered over the administration. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn resigned in February after admitting he misled the Trump administration about his Russian contacts. In May, FBI Director James Comey, who was investigating Flynn, was fired. He later testified that President Trump pressed him to drop the case.
I took it as a direction. Right. I mean, as the President of the United States.
I didn't say that.
Former FBI Director Robert Mueller was tapped to lead the Russia probe as special counsel. His investigation has resulted in charges against 3 former Trump campaign officials. And Michael Flynn, who in the fall pled guilty to lying to the FBI about conversations with Russia's ambassador and said he would cooperate with the probe. Rhetoric between the U.S. and North Korea ramped up in 2017. Kim Jong-un's regime tested more than 20 missiles, prompting a sharp rebuke from President Trump at the UN.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
Gunshots rang out at a Virginia baseball field in June as Republican lawmakers practiced for a charity game. 4 were injured, including Louisiana Representative Steve Scalise. In July, Arizona Senator John McCain was diagnosed with a form of brain cancer discovered after he had a blood clot removed. Politicians were not immune to what some call the national reckoning over sexual assault and harassment allegations. Democratic Senator Al Franken denied some of the allegations before resigning. Democratic Representative John Conyers also stepped down and denied any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, Republican Roy Moore continued to run for an Alabama Senate seat with President Trump's support amid allegations he sexually assaulted or had inappropriate relationships with teenage girls. He also denied the allegations against him. In the end, opponent Doug Jones won the seat, marking the first time in decades Alabama has elected a Democratic senator. The Republican-led Congress made 3 attempts in 2017 to repeal and replace Obamacare.
I have no doubt we'll pass this because we're going to keep our promises.
All attempts have so far failed. Both the House and the Senate passed a major tax bill and are now working on an end-of-the-year compromise. In Washington, I'm Karen Caifa.